Hey guys. Hey guys. Hey guys. Hey guys. Hey guys.
Hey guys!
Hey guys.
Okay, so today we are going to be doing something called solving for a variable. It's going to look a little bit different than solving equations because there's going to be a lot of variables, but let's take a look at this first example real quick. We want to solve this equation for x. So we're going to box that variable. We want to move this -2, so we're going to do the opposite and add it to both sides. So we get 3x equals 42, and divide each side by 3, and we get x equals 14. Okay, so that should be an easy one. All right, so Miss Barley's going to show you what happens when
We have to solve for a variable. Okay, so like Ms. Santiago said, these are going to look a little crazy, but stay with us, okay? You know what to do, just stay with us. So we are going to start solving equations that look like this, okay? What's different here? There's a lot of letters. Which one do we want to solve for? We still want to solve for x, so we still want to get the x all by itself. We're going to follow the same exact steps that Ms. Santiago did up here in our first example, but our answer is just going to look a little different. So let me show you, okay? Still, if you want to draw your line for your equation, just like Ms. Santiago did up here, the very first thing that she did was add 2 to both sides. Well, now our 2 is just a k. So we're going to do the same thing. Add k to both sides. That gets canceled out. Bring down your 3x. And now we need to figure out what is b plus k. Is it 4? Is it 5? We don't know. Okay, we can't just combine them into one number. So we're going to write them out. B plus k. Okay, those stand for some number. Now, what would be the next step to solve for x? So just like Ms. Santiago did in the first example, the next step is to divide both sides by 3. So we're going to do that here. Now, again, we will get x equals, do we know what b plus k divided by 3 is equal to? Is it equal to 7, 8, 9? No, we don't know the answer, so we just keep them written out like this, okay? These all stand for some number. We just don't know what that number is.
So the whole idea, guys, is when it says solve for x, same thing from before. You just want to get x by itself and move everything to the other side of the equal sign. Okay, so let's take a look at this one right here. It says solve for x. So we want this x to stay here. So again, who has to move? Who would normally move? This guy right here. Who cares if it's a letter? We know we still have to move it. So what's the opposite of subtracting m? We're going to add an m. These cross off. I bring down my x equals. These are not like terms, so I cannot put them together. So it's g plus m. Now, I want to ask myself, did I get x by itself? Yes, I did. So this right here would be the final answer. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at the next one. Again, it says solve for x. So we want this x right here to be by itself. Draw my line down. What's the opposite of a negative y? Positive y. So I get 6x equals z plus y. Now, ask yourself, is that x by itself? No, it's not. I need to get rid of this 6. I have to undo it. So this 6 and x are being multiplied. What's the opposite of multiply? Divide. So I get x equals z plus y over 6. And that's the answer for that one.
All right, so for the next one, again, all letters, which one are we trying to solve for? We want to get the r all by itself. So right now, d equals rt. R and t are being multiplied times each other. So to get the r by itself, I want to do the opposite. I want to divide both sides by t. So my final answer is going to say d divided by t is equal to r. Okay, again, just trying to get that letter all by itself. For the next one, similar thing. P equals mgh. So remember, that means m times g times h. I want to get the m all by itself. So I have to move over all the letters that are not m. So I want to divide by g and h on both sides. So they will cancel out here. Final answer will be p divided by gh is equal to m. Okay?
All right, let's take a look at the next one. You might even be able to figure it out. We want m to be by itself, so I'm going to box that m, and I'm going to, what's the opposite of a negative or a minus n? Add n to both sides. Now, we didn't bring this up in the video, but the order does matter. You want to make sure that you put this number first and then whatever's underneath it, or letter. So we have m equals 5 plus n. Is m by itself? Yes, it is. That is our final answer. The next one, again, we want x by itself. So let's box that x. All right, so who has to move? We have a positive b, so we're going to subtract b from both sides. We get y minus b equals mx. How do I get rid of that m in front of the x? Simply just divide. They cross off, and my answer is x equals y minus b over m.
All right, so remember, order does matter here. They have to be written in the correct order for your answer to be right. All right, last two examples here. Solve for x. So this equation says x divided by 5 minus g equals a. So again, trying to get the x all by itself. The very first thing we want to do is add g to both sides of this equation. So we'll get x divided by 5 equals a plus g. Now, this is x divided by 5, so we're going to do the opposite. We are going to multiply both sides by 5. So it will cancel out over here, leaving us just with x. But now, again, we have to be very careful with how we write our answers. We are in high school now. We should know that when we have something like this, a plus g, and we're dividing it by 5, that 5 can go outside of those parentheses. Okay, so this will be our answer.
Miss Barley said divide by 5, but it's multiply by 5.
Oh, sorry. Okay, next example. All right. So for this example, we are solving for c. It's right here. So we need to get the rest of the things over to the other side of the equation. We are going to start by subtracting the 5p from both sides. Now, remember what we said. You have to make sure that you can only combine like terms. So looking here, is p minus 5p, are those like terms? Yes, they are. They both have a p. This is 1p minus 5p. So I can go ahead and actually figure out what that number is. That gives us a negative 4p. Now, we still want to get the c all by itself. So we are going to divide both sides by 9, leaving us with our answer, negative 4p divided by 9. Okay, so again, we know this looks a little bit different, but we are still following all the same steps that we did when we solved equations. Go ahead, grab your classwork, and good luck.
Good luck.